he or the other leaders that have been killed along with him could do. The heavy and pinpoint bombing, however, will continue uninterrupted throughout the week or as long as necessary to achieve our objective of peace throughout the Middle East and indeed the world. Let's bring in Al Jazeera's Manuel Rapolo, who joins us live from Washington, D.C. So Trump's taken to Truth Social again, talking about how they killed him. I mean, Trump seemed pretty sure that Khamenei was dead when he announced it earlier. I mean, the intelligence was clearly correct, Manny, wasn't it?
The intelligence was correct, Darren. That is correct. President Trump, it's now 46 minutes past midnight here in Washington, D.C. President Trump is still taking to social media, recently posting on his Truth Social account, saying that Iran has warned that they are going to hit hard today, quote unquote, and that he warned back saying that if Iran, Iran will hit with the United States will hit Iran with a force that has never been seen before. So President Trump still very much on top of the still developing situation here. The primary narrative from the White House, from the Trump administration, however, has not changed, and that is that this Operation Epic Fury, was, quote, necessary to protect U.S. forces in the region, to serve as deterrents for against Iranian threats, and to serve as containment against Iran's nuclear ambitions. We should note here as well that President Trump has also been framing this moment as an opportunity for the Iranian people to, quote, take control of their government. And that is one of the many questions being asked right now, as many Americans woke up on Saturday morning to that news that the United States had attacked Iran in conjunction with the Israeli military. Many people asking exactly why this is happening. That's the public reaction. On Capitol Hill, lawmakers asking why Congress was not taken into account, why there was no explicit consent from Congress for this attack, when it is Congress and Congress alone that has the authority to declare war.
Yeah, Manny, so what does this now mean then for Trump and his war goals, his war aims? I mean, does Trump now claim victory and bring combat operations to an end soon and use the Venezuela model going forward, perhaps, where you institute behavioral change in the regime, which is how they call it in Washington?
It's very interesting to bring in the subject of Venezuela here, because on the one hand, yes, there is this expectation that President Trump at this point is already running that victory lap with the confirmed death of Iran's supreme leader. But what happens next is the big question. That's going to be the real litmus test of whether or not this large political risk, this gamble by the Trump administration, is going to pay off. Because right now, the Trump administration, President Trump himself, is under a lot of pressure to convince the American people that if what U.S. objectives are regime change, that it is going to be regime change that favors U.S. interests. And that's something that we will still need to see how that aspect plays out. On the other hand, it's whether or not President Trump's own base, the Make America Great Again movement, can be convinced that they have not been betrayed. We have to remind our audience here that President Trump and his campaign in the last election ran heavily on this platform of no foreign wars, no lengthy conflicts. So just from optics alone, President Trump, remember, is very savvy politically. Despite not being a traditional politician, he's very savvy when it comes to social media. He has to be able to convince the American people that regime change in this instance is going to favor U.S. interests. And if it doesn't, the results of that will be played out, will be seen very clearly in the upcoming midterm elections that are scheduled to take place in November.
All right, Al Jazeera's Manuel Rapolo, the live press in Washington. Manny, for now, thank you. Well, as Manuel just mentioned, in the U.S., congressional reaction to the attack on Iran is split along party lines. Nearly all Republicans call the airstrikes long overdue and justified, while Democrats say the strikes violate the U.S. Constitution. Al Jazeera's Roslyn Jordan reports.
The Trump administration attacked Iran on Saturday in the middle of ongoing negotiations over Iran's nuclear ambitions and without full consultations with all members of the U.S. Congress beforehand. Nearly all Republicans cheered on President Donald Trump's decision as key to protecting national security. Senate Majority Leader John Thune: "I commend President Trump for taking action." House Speaker Mike Johnson: "Iran is facing the severe consequences of its evil actions." House Intelligence Committee Chair Rick Crawford: "The safety and security of Americans and our allies are on the line." Congressional Democrats, angry that only a small group of legislators were briefed on the possibility of airstrikes last week, called the White House's actions unconstitutional and unnecessary.
Trump says his goal is to topple the Iranian regime, but the American people are tired of regime change wars that cost us billions of dollars and risk our lives.
One Republican, Thomas Massey, says Congress needs to have its say now. I am opposed to this war. This is not America first. The only point of agreement, bipartisan support for the thousands of U.S. forces now deployed in the Middle East, many of them on board the USS Gerald Ford and the USS Abraham Lincoln. Members of Congress are away from Washington this weekend, so unless the Republican leadership calls them back immediately, the earliest they can debate the legality of the Iran airstrikes won't be until Tuesday. Rosalind Jordan, Al Jazeera, Capitol Hill.
Well, let's go back to Al Jazeera correspondent Russell Sirdar, who's reported extensively from Iran. He joins us on set now to unpack all the latest developments. The latest development, Russell, is that Iran's Ali Larijani says temporary leadership council is to be set up today. That's pretty significant. Just talk us through what that means.
Indeed, it's significant, and the announcement of the council is significant, and also the one who announces it's also significant. Ali Larijani previously has been the spokesperson of the parliament for quite long years, but recently he has been appointed as the secretary of the Supreme National Security Council, which is the ultimate security body in the country that decides about domestic, regional, and international affairs when it comes to Iran's security policies, and it directly reports to the supreme leader. So now he's a key figure, and that key figure at the top of
Nashukuru Mungu tupo.